So, right, we are back again with the self-powering diesel heater. I have it all set up in the background. Other David has done a fantastic job of building version 2, version 2, version 3? I don't know, we're on another version. Different copper block and cooling and different better cooling. I'll give you a rundown and a tour of it in a moment. I just need to start by saying a brief message about over Unity. This is not that. This is not magic. This is not over Unity. This is not getting energy from the black dark energy of the universe. You're generating electricity by the burning of diesel fuel. That is how it's working. That is where the extra electricity is coming from. We are harnessing some of the heat from burning fuels. It's not magic, it's not over Unity. We are literally burning a fuel, getting heat, and converting the heat into electricity. That's how it works. It's not magic. Right, now I've said that, let's go on and do things and run the tests and see what happens. Right, let's do a brief rundown of all of the heater bits and bobs. Oh, I thought it was leaking, it's not, so I've splashed it with antifreeze. Yes, right. Ooh. Come out, please. Please? Seriously? Okay, we have our air. We have our 12-litre coolant tank, which has currently got a lovely mixture of water and antifreeze in it, because it's still winter and it might still freeze. This blue box here with the hose has got 2 large radiators inside to do the cooling of the coolant, and it's cooled by the intake air being drawn in from the heater. So it comes in here through 2 radiators and then exits into the intake side of the heater and then passes through, and obviously all the doings and heating bits are in there, and your hot air comes out the back. Underneath in there is our fancy new water block, not water block, copper heating block with the TEG modules attached outside, and then water blocks on the outside of them, and then all this fancy pumping, fancy ducting and pipes and whatnot, and that all goes through into 2 pumps. There are 2 pumps here, and when they run at 700 milliamps, and that's together, so 350 milliamps each. They are connected to what's the word I'm looking for? Relay on the heater ECU itself. So when the heater turns on, it activates the relay and turns the pumps on. So all the power that the heater consumes goes through these 2 wires. That is the 2 wires that go into the heater itself. And then everything else it produces comes out of the TEG modules through these 2 wires, through our MPPT solar charge controller, and then that goes out to the battery, which I've just finished charging it. It's fully charged, ready to roll. So this is us, run 1, the test. We're going to fire it up and see what current the heater consumes and what current the output into the battery is, and if it works. Oh, we also have 2 thermistors attached. One sits on the hot side of the TEG and one sits on the cold side of the TEG, so we can see the temperature difference between them. I've got my multimeter so we can get voltage readings off the battery, and we've also got our current clamp so we can get current readings from the things. Right, filming everything because I'm afraid to not do that anymore, so we'll now put the fuse back in. Sparks. Okay, fuse is in, the heater is live. Let's turn it on. And we're good, the pumps are on, so that bit works. And we will set it to, I don't know, let's go 2.1 hertz, kind of middle of the road, because we don't know what temperature the blocks are going to run at, because you're only supposed to take them up to 250 degrees, but that's 250 degrees on the hot side, and the cold side will be colder, so they'll never actually get to 250, so we just need to wait and see if we melt anything. I'll bring you back once it's running. Right, we have come up to obviously up to running, and it's now dropped down to the 2.1 hertz that I've set it to, and it's currently charging the battery. Our temperature display, we've got 16 degrees on the cold side and 213 on the hot side. Where is the probes? One of them and one of them. So the voltage that's currently being output by the TEG modules is 30 volts DC, so 30 volts. And we're currently putting in 700 milliamps into the battery. And the heater is consuming AC 0. So the heater is currently consuming 1.5 amps. Give or take, maybe 1.6 amps. Kind of an average of 1.6. 1.6 amps. So, let's take the power up, shall we? Let's go. Oh, hell. If she's going to die, she's going to die. Let's take her up to 5.5 hertz. Let me bring you in. I'm needing the WD-40 this. So we need, ideally, this to get to 2 reds. We've got temperature here. Oh my, everything is reflective today. So the temperature's starting to climb back up. That's what we want. And this thing, horrible. Wait, now there's no voltage from the TEG modules. What? Is this called like a dodgy connection? Wait, that was working a second ago. That had 30 volts. Why has it stopped? What has happened? Have we already melted them? Let's see. No, that's... Swear to God, it's that controller. Every time I look at it, it's doing something different. Oh... What? That was working. I had 30 volts. What hellscape is going on here? What the actual fuck? There's back on, what? This doesn't make any sense. 30 volts, there's 35, 36. We've got a temperature of 290 degrees on the hot side, 22 degrees on the cold side. And according to the thing, we are outputting 1.1 amps. We can check that. Clip over that. Yep, 1.1 amps or 1.2 amps. And going the other way, more than 2 amps now. So I'm gonna have to go up a scale, re-zero. So at full power, the heater is pulling nearly 4 amps, and we're putting back into the battery 3 amps. That says 3 amps. Output 3 amps. So it's... Oh man, it's close. Wait, I need to be able to show you. Right, so let me dangle this. You gonna dangle there happily? You gonna dangle? You gonna be a nice dangly boy? Stay. Right, okay. So we've crossed 300 degrees on the hot side, 25 degrees on the cold side. Still haven't hit the full red, and the heater is consuming that's nearly 4 amps. I see 3.7, 3.8 at worst, so 3.8 amps. We'll take this off of here. And the output wires, which go to the battery, on here. Let's go around that. And we've got 3.14 amps coming out. So we're still just missing that last 1 amp. So we are within 1 amp of it being able to keep the battery charged while running. And it's the thing again, it's the pumps. See, if we didn't have those 2 pumps, this setup would be charging that battery and consuming, well, not consuming no power. Let's see if we can confirm on our little display thing. Where are we? Battery voltage is 12.8. Right, I'm going to see if I can get that into there. We're currently outputting 3.2 amps. We don't have a load on the thing. Let's go back to... So that's the voltage that the TEG modules are outputting. So it's doing 40 volts. And obviously 40 volts at 1 amp, and then it's outputting that as 12.8 or probably 13.4 volts to try and charge the battery, 3.2 amps. So we're putting 3.2 amps out and we're pulling in 3.7. So we've just still, as I say, we've just got that last little hurdle of basically the pumps. That's what we're running as the pumps. And I still haven't built the other module to try and reclaim the exhaust gas, because the exhaust is still hot. You've still got hot exhaust gas. And as someone very, very rightly pointed out, is the exhaust gas, although it's hot, it's not very dense. So you've got a lot of not very dense gas to try and capture some heat from. Now I'm going to put an image on the screen of the heat sinks that I've been trying to find. It's basically a metal tube with the heatsink fins on the inside, so I can pipe the exhaust down through the middle, have the TEG modules on the heatsink so they try and absorb the best of the heat from the exhaust, and then the other side, for the cold side, we have the intake air coming the other way, and hopefully that would get us our last little bit of power that we need. So please, if anyone knows where I can get this kind of tubular style sealed heatsink, because my other option is, don't know where I put it now, other than that, right. So I bought a heatsink like this, and my plan was to weld a flat plate over the top and basically make my own channel, but my aluminium welding skills are less than ideal, and I fear I would just make a horrible blobby mess and end up with this all twisted out of shape and no longer flat for the TEGs to go into. So if I could get already made, extruded, sealed, you know, like with a flat plate over the top, or if anyone out there wants to make me some, I will happily send you these and the aluminium stock that I've got. If you can weld a top plate on the top, I can drill holes and maybe even weld on a pipe fitting part, but actual running like long beads, that's above my skill level. I have a feeling that because I started, I've just come to the epiphany here, because I've started with a charged battery, I'm beginning to wonder sometimes that it's stopping charging. Either that, or I've completely melted the TEG modules at this point. Oh, we might have completely melted the TEG modules. They are currently outputting 6 volts. Well, they are setting at 340 degrees on the hot side, so that's maybe too much. So I wonder what happens if we take it back down. Let's take it back down now. Let's go 3.5 hertz. So that might have been the first and only time for that running. But basically, it needs to be hot. It doesn't really work unless it's hot. So maybe if that comes back down to something sensible, they'll start working again. I mean, they're cooling down, but the voltage is not coming back. Well, that was appear to be it, ladies and gentlemen. The one run of the TEG modules has killed them by the looks of it. I wonder if that means I have to take back all the bad things I said about the Genasun. I don't know. I'll need to test it again. But yeah, the TEG modules now appear to have died. Right, so I've poked and prodded and turned the temperature up and turned the temperature down, and the TEG modules have suffered somewhat of a death by the looks of it. So what I'm going to do is go now and check each module individually. Like, because just now they are in serial, so it's positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Let's take out some wires here, and we'll just go and stick the multimeter onto each TEG and see what each actual module's outputting. Keep losing these ends. No, got a wire wrapped in the thing. Go, get up, get off. Right, one in there, one in there. So that one's currently outputting 7 volts. Okay, maybe there's just one dead one. 7. 11. Oh, nearly 12 actually, it was 11.7. 11, 7. 10. 10 and can't get my probe in the last one. Come on, get in there. 11. Right. Okay. So like 10, 10, 10, 10. And 5. No, but maybe one of them has died. Maybe that's what's wrong. What if we just let's take the last 3, the ones that all had 10s, let's take them and see if we can get 30 volts out of it. That one. So now we should have like 30 volts between here and here. Ta-da! 30 volts. So I think one of the TEGs has died. So if we take that out of there, and then reattach. Can everybody hear the rain? Yes, it's Scotland and it's raining again. I'll take that and I'll reattach the black wire, hopefully. Put the black one back in here, maybe. Take that black and take this and stab it in here. That. And there we go, we're now charging again. And we're charging at, it says 15 volts. So 15 volts would be our, where's this? Where is thing? Do we have 15 volts still? No, now we've got 2 volts. Okay, now I can't explain any of this. Like, let's just disconnect that. Right, so. Wow, it's really raining out there. Open voltage. What is our open voltage? I'll touch them together. That one, and open voltage of 28 volts. I have no idea what this MPPT controller is doing, and it's going to turn off. That's okay. I mean, it's got 30 volts. I'd love to show you, but I don't have enough hands. Hands? If only I had clips for the end of my things. Hold on. There you go. 27 point something volts. So that last TEG module, which we can still test, unfankle all these things. So that last one is outputting 8 volts. No, 0.8 volts. That's less than 1 volt. 0.8 volts. So I'm fairly confident that one's dead, and it's dragging down the rest of the setup. Can't explain what the T controller's doing. I don't know why it's, because, well, it should be a multiple point tracking, so it should be able to take the 30 volts and work out where along the line, you know, how much current and voltage it can get from that. But yet it refused to do so. It's not like the battery's charged. The battery's got 12.5 volts in it, so it's not like it's sitting away up at its floating voltage. I think I've worked out what my problem is there. So although our open voltage from the TEG modules is 30, the 3 that are left, once we connect it up to the load of the MPPT controller thing, it drops to down to 12 volts. And 12 volts isn't enough to charge a 12 volt battery. We need more than 12 volts for that. And the 1 volt that we've got out of the last one isn't enough. So I'm going to get the Genasun fired up and wired back in again and see what happens. I'll be right back. Okay, so I fished the Genasun back out. I don't know if you can see its green LEDs flashing here. So I'm going to have to apologise to Genasun, because for whatever reason, this has come back to life. And I've tried it with the power supply. I connected the power supply into the panel input and gave it 14 volts, and it charged the battery at 8 amps. Basically, it charged it the full, as much power as this unit can do. It was absolutely working. Unfortunately, even with the Genasun, which is a low voltage MPPT controller, it's used to dealing with low voltages, even connected to the remaining 3 TEG modules, although it has voltage, it is now not outputting any current to charge the battery, and we're running a rather conservative 200 odd 60 degrees on the hot side. So I'm going back to thinking that the TEGs are dead or dying. One of them is dead. I believe the rest of them are dying. So that's a bit unfortunate. If they're dying, we might as well fucking crank it and see if we can get the Genasun to do anything. Right, let's take her all the way up to maximum hotness. Right, I'll bring you back if it sets itself on fire. Well, this has clipped 300 odd degrees. I've still got 7 volts left in the output and no current flowing from the Genasun to the battery. It's just in standby. Yeah, so if we just unplug that and just stick you somewhere over here, and we'll just take the positive out as well and get our open circuit voltage. Go on. See, still got an open circuit voltage of 40 odd volts, but it gets dragged all the way down to 7, and that's 50 volts now. Surely 50 volts, because we're allowed max PV voltage range 60 volts. Well, that's less than. Let me poke this back in again. Let's stuff this back inside. That one in there. Where's a black one? There's a black one. Stuff that in there. And nothing. What do we get under load? We get 7 volts. Still 7. What's our battery voltage? Our battery voltage is 12.38 volts. And we're just under 350. Right, let's shut this down. Well, that was a bit disappointing. So, the TEGs died. Well, one of them's definitely dead, and I'm fairly sure the other 3 are on their way out. But when it was working, it was working. We, once again, we're even closer this time. We were within like 500 to 700 milliamps of actual being able to charge the battery with the same amount of power that we are consuming, therefore not flattening the battery and having it run. But either those TEGs are lies and they cannot withstand the temperature that they're supposed to stand, because although the display was showing the hot side was at 350 degrees, okay, it's granted that. So we've got one side at 350, but the other side is at 30. So that means the whole thing can't be at 350 degrees if the other side is at 30. So it has to be somewhere in between those. Obviously, there's a gradient. The hot side will be at 350 and then it'll creep its way down to 30 over this side. So in there, that shouldn't have been solder melting or anything of that kind of thing. But we'll send it all back to David and he can do an autopsy. Is it an autopsy if it's not living? What if it's not? What is it? What is an autopsy when it's not on a living thing? You can do a tear down of it and see if the modules are dead, if the solder's dripped out of them, etc. That kind of thing. But it nearly works. If we could get even better TEG modules that can withstand a high temperature and the hard running, I think we are pretty much in with a shout of making it be able to power itself. Again, I said about using the heatsink channel stuff, if anybody can find many or make many, to recover the heat from the exhaust for the TEG modules, to see if we can get back some of that electricity as well. And also that might be an interesting project just to have it as additional charge for batteries. You're basically taking the waste heat and turning it into electricity. But I think that might do it for the time being for the self-powering diesel heater project. If anyone is interested in taking it further, go and send a comment on my thing. I'll also leave a link to the self-powering diesel heater and other diesel heater modifications Facebook group that I'm on there occasionally. Other David's running it. And it's about this project. But also, if anyone has any other diesel heater modifications that they want to show off, please come over to the Facebook page and put it on there, because we're going to put more things on there because I want to build a bigger diesel heater later on, and I'm going to put that on there as well. Any comments, questions, as usual, please leave them down below. I'll try my very best to answer them. And as always, thanks for watching.